What is up? Brie E Anderson here, and I am so excited to be talking to you about Google Analytics goal tracking. So if you don't know, goals are a little bit different from events. Events, if you want to set those up, you're going to have to use something like Tag Manager. And if you are using Google Analytics 4, this is not going to be the video for you. So this is goal tracking in Google Analytics, Universal Analytics in a breeze. So let's get started now. When you get into Google Analytics, the first thing you're going to want to do is go on the left-hand side where it says admin. If you have edit permissions, this is going to work perfectly. You'll be able to scroll down. You will scroll down in that third column where it says view, and that's where you'll find the goals section. That's where it's a little flag icon, and next to it, it says goals. You can see that I have one goal already, but we are going to create a new one. To create a new goal, again, you have to have that edit access, and we will select new goal. Here, you simply name the goal. So I'm going to call this engaged. And you can see that this is goal number 2, like we had already imagined, but that there are also goal sets. So goal sets are exactly what they sound like. They are specific types of goals all grouped together. So for this one, if I want to call this engaged, I could say engaged page views, and then I could do also in that same goal set engaged duration. In the next goal, I could do engaged page visited, right? Maybe there's a specific page I want them to visit, and all that could be in goal set 1. Then I could do goal set 2, which would be conversion, right? And that could be leads, that could be phone calls, contact form fills, something like that. Or I could have a goal set 3, and that's specifically for products that I sell, right? You can use these, you don't have to use them. I'll show you in a second where those are placed, but let's talk about actually setting the goals first. There are 4 types of goals, technically 5, but unless you are using Google Ads, smart goals aren't going to be an option, and really you don't set those anyways. Google's setting those. So the 4 types that we're going to talk about are destination, which is a specific page. Once a specific page is visited, that goal is complete. Usually this is used for thank you pages, maybe the cart page, just depending on what it is that you want to track. Then we have duration, and that's exactly what it sounds like. Somebody was on site for 15 seconds. Somebody was on the site for 30 seconds. Somebody, so on and so forth, right? The next thing we have is pages per session. Again, exactly what it sounds like. When somebody hits 3 pages during their session, goals completed. When somebody hits 5 pages in their session, goal completed. That simple. Then we have an event. Like I said, if you want to track these events, you're going to have to use something like Google Tag Manager, and we'll cover that in another video. So the main ones that we're going to be looking at are the destination, duration, and pages per session. We call this engaged page views. I'm going to set this as duration. So I'm going to hit continue, and then you can see duration is greater than blank hours, blank minutes, and blank seconds. I'm just going to put 1 minute. 1 minute on site is actually pretty good, especially depending on what kind of content you're sending people to right out of the gate. If we wanted to, we could give this a value. Personally, for this specific goal, I'm not going to assign a value, and I can go ahead and verify the goal. Now, I don't send people to this website, so it's probably going to say, 0% conversion rate. Now, if this was something that you expected a lot of people would have actually done, you want to see that conversion rate up. I think the average time on site right now was like 1 second. So let's re-verify, and then you can see 12.5% conversion rate based on this goal. I would then just press save, and we would be able to see it under the conversion sections under goals. Then we could go to overview. We would be able to see right here what those goals were and where the people who completed the goals came from. This is really important information. If you use the Google Analytics demo account, you'll actually be able to see where the goals took place, and like I said, where those goals came from. So you can see where the most engaged audience is coming from and where the most qualified audience is coming from, right? So it looks like direct, but then directly after that, we have cost per click and organic. And we can see where the goals took place, again, using goals URLs. If we wanted to get really deep into the weeds and say, okay, how did people get to this point? We could use the reverse goal path to see what steps people took to hit the goal. Same thing with funnel visualization. If you want to use funnel visualization, you will have to use the destination goal type. When we use the destination goal type, you'll see that the first thing we have to select is what kind of matching we want Google to do when tracking this goal. Do we want them to track a very specific URL, a URL that begins with a certain chain, or do we want to use a regular expression? Now, those are very advanced, and that's going to be something that we cover at a later date. So don't worry about that just yet. We just need to know, does this need to be an exact URL, or is it something that is starting with a specific string of characters, right? So maybe you just want to track all thank you pages, but you have different thank you pages for different things, right? Maybe you have a thank you page for newsletter signups, thank you page for donations, right? If you wanted to track all thank you pages, they could all start with thank you, then have something after that. So it might be thank you dash donation, thank you dash newsletter. Those would both be tracked if we use / thank you. Those would both be tracked if we use begins with thank you. If we wanted only to track the newsletter, we would do thank you dash newsletter. Does that make sense? If not, leave a comment and I'll try and explain it a little bit clearer for you. So I'm going to use a begins with, and I'm going to do services. And this is definitely something that I do suggest using a value for, because this is going to assign page value to different all the pages on your website actually. So if you get any sort of value of somebody signing up to your newsletter, let's say, then I would put 1 right here, or just whatever number you think that you actually get from somebody being on your email list. You can calculate that if you want. Otherwise, like I said, just put 1 here. So then you can really see how valuable each page on your website is, and try and create a strategy that either gets people there sooner or to where you can make more pages like that specific page. So I'm gonna put 1 here. Now, this is how we get that funnel visualization that we saw earlier. This would be where you set up your funnel. So you just turn on your funnel. You would say, you could put step 1, I don't really know. And this might just be the regular page. And we'll do step 2 and we'll call it service. And I wouldn't say that you would want to put the requirement on, because that can really eliminate some of the data that you collect. But again, that's something that's up to you. You can look more into that. And then again, we would verify the goal, and nobody's going to that. I think this is actually services. I don't know. Let's go look. If you don't know what the page is, I actually would just go through the entire process. So this is, /services. So yeah, and then you would get that funnel visualization that looks like this. So you can see people go, okay, first they go to the cart and we had this much drop off, right? And we can see that that's where the majority of the drop off is. They add something to their cart, but most people don't get to billing and shipping. So now we know where the biggest gap is, and that this is the gap that we need to focus on in order to increase our total conversion rate. Because you can see, once people add something to their billing, they only have 200 drop-offs and then 100 drop-offs. So the majority of that drop-off though happens right here. Again, you can look. So this says 39% continue on. That means almost 60% of people drop off, where only 30% drop here, 25% drop here, and 7% drop here. So we really want to focus on this first section. Now, if we wanted to use pages per session, we would just do kind of the same thing, engaged pages, as we did for duration. And we would just press continue and say pages per screen per session. We would just say greater than 2 or 3 or whatever you want it to be. You can verify, and it will say, yes, people have done that. No, people haven't done that. Now, the goal sets. Let's talk about where those goal sets live really quick. So if we go to acquisition, all traffic, and go to channels, at the top here, you'll see where it says goal set 1. And this is going to show us all of those goals that were set. So Goal 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all in goal set 1. Goal 1 is purchase completed. Goal 2 is engaged users. 3 is registrations, and 4 is entered checkout. Kind of an odd little combination there, but again, you could have this as stayed on site for 30 seconds, visited 2 pages. You could have, whatever you wanted that to be, an event. You could track clicks, anything of that nature, right? And if you had different goal sets, they would all show up right here. Now, hopefully this has helped you set up your goals in Google Analytics. Leave a comment below and let me know what the very first goal you're going to set up is. As you can see on my account, it was the contact form fills because that's one of the most important things to me. And as always, if you have any questions, also leave those in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out today, and I'll see you next time.